Hi, this is Janet from Try It Like It Created, and today I am working with my Crossover 2 to make a shaker tag. And so what I have in front of me here is I have my sandwich ready to go. I have my bottom plate, the metal plate, and then my cardstock with the pieces I want to cut. And just to show you on this tag, because I want a center cut out for the shaker, I have lined up my dies and held them together with a little bit of washi tape. So now I'm just going to put my top plate over the dies and send it through the machine. And I don't feel like I have enough pressure there, so I'm just going to tighten down the roller and let's see, yeah, I'm going to send it back through. So let's see if we got through. Yeah. All right, so that's my first cuts. The other thing I have done off camera is I took this piece and laid it on top of my adhesive foam and pressed it so that I had a guide, and then I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. So that will lay in here for my shaker card. All right, so now that I have these pieces cut out, we can move on to the next part. So I want to show you that I have all my pieces cut out, and I used them, most of them cut on the Crossover 2. So I have the top piece, the foam core I cut by hand, the die with hello I cut out on the Crossover 2. I have a piece of film that came from this clear acetate sheet from Maker's Movement. And then the double-sided adhesive foam was the one I cut by hand. That came out of this package. And then I have the backing of the tag. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set all this aside, and we're going to put embossing powder on the hello. So I'm going to take a piece of scrap here and cover it in clear. So I just want to make sure I stamp it well with clear. And then I'm going to take it to my embossing powder box. This cute little spoon in here. And we're just going to cover this whole thing with embossing powder. And depending on how thick you want this to be, you can do it multiple times. Okay, so we'll give it a go for the first time and see if we want to make it any thicker. So I'm just going to get that powder on there generously, tap it off. Alright, and I have some little hairs here, and I don't know if they're from the embossing powder or from the cardstock, but okay. So we're going to set that aside, and then I'm going to take a pair of tweezers to hold on to this as I use my heat gun. Alright, so sorry for the noise. Okay, so that's our first application, and I think I'm going to do more. So let me see if while this is hot, if it will still take on some of the powder. If not, we'll stamp it again. So yeah, it's not hot enough for it to stick. So I'm going to do some more stamping. I'm probably going to do this 2 or 3 times, and then I'll be back. So here's my word that I have embossed, and I did it 3 times with clear embossing powder, and hopefully you can kind of see the difference between the white cardstock and the embossed word. Okay, so I kind of wanted that to stand out from the white cardstock. So for the next step, these 3 pieces here, not the foam piece, but the other 3 pieces, I'm going to line them up and punch them with my hole punch. All right, and I am just going to kind of eyeball this in the center here. And I'm stuck on something, but we'll just give it a little bit of, I think it's the actual punch pieces that are stuck. So, there we go. Yeah, it was the punched piece. Alright, so then we're going to use this as a template on the foam piece and figure out where we need to cut that hole. So let me grab a pencil here. Yeah. Okay. Grab a pencil and put a circle in here where I want it. And it looks like my foam piece, I'm not sure, it might be a little too big. So, I don't know. I might take my X-Acto knife and just cut down the sides a little bit while I have it working for the hole. So let's just line things up and see how it goes. I'm just going to trace around here where I've got extra. Alright, so I'm going to cut that with my X-Acto knife and then I'll be back. Alright, so the first thing we want to do here is attach the foam to the back piece of our card. And I actually did use my hole punch to punch the opening. I had to do it twice to get it to line up correctly. But it did work going through that. So I'm just going to peel off the adhesive backing here and then place it onto my tag. And I like to kind of try to line things up here by standing them up, making sure everything fits together because you've got one go at it. So I think that's going to do it. Okay, so we've got our foam. I don't see too much sticking out, maybe a little bit right there. Sorry for jiggling the camera. I think we're going to be okay though, and the hole is good enough for me. So then our next step is we're going to fill it with our sprinkles, and we're going to put our film on top of that piece like so. So before we do that, we have to peel off this blue layer, and sometimes you can just rub it with your finger and it peels back, and like that. And so we have one on each side. So let me see if I can get it off of this side. If not, there it goes. Okay, I was to say if not, sometimes a straight pin can help do that. Alright, so we've got our clear acetate here, and we're going to use the adhesive on the foam, but we need to fill this first. So what I'm going to use here is from Maker's Movement, and I've got rainbow caviar. Doesn't that sound exciting? It's shaker sprinkles. So it does really look like ice cream sprinkles, but they are made for this purpose. So I'm just going to fill up my card generously, like that. Got some bouncing around on my tabletop here. That's okay. Okay, let me put a lid on so I don't spill them everywhere. All right, and then we're going to take the adhesive off of the foam piece. Try not to stick those sprinkly pieces to it. And we're going to get the acetate on there. So let's try to line this up in the corner here. All right, now this piece, if it's not perfect, we can always trim it, and that's what I'm going to do here with my scissors, because I've got some sticking over the edge here, and that's okay. All I need is really for it to adhere around where those kind of rainbow sprinklet pieces are. So, all right, so give it a good push. Make sure it's sealed tight around there, and those pieces are nice and jiggly. And then we're going to lay this on top of here. Now, to do this, we have a couple different options. We could use glue, we could use double stick tape, whatever you think will work the best. I am going to, let me just make sure my hole is lined up in the right place for that. Yeah, okay. So I am just going to use some tacky glue here and go around it. And so what I have here is I really need this piece to stick down, but it's not, you know, holding in any of the shaker bits. It's just the decorative top piece. So we want it to attach well, but we really don't have to worry about anything shaking through, is what I'm trying to say here. All right, so let's grab that and stick it on here. And the reason I like using the adhesive is that it gives me a little bit of wiggle room, so I can kind of line things up and move it around a little bit to make sure I have it where I want it. All right, so we're almost finished with this tag. Isn't that fun? Love the sound. All right, so I've got a little bit of clear sticking out the top here. I'm going to trim that off with my scissor. You probably didn't even see it. There we go. And then the last bit is our word is going to sit right on top here, going across the shakers. So we've got it curved a little bit, but I am going to run my adhesive over all of it, and then we're going to push it down onto the piece so it'll attach itself to the cardstock and to the clear acetate. And then the last thing we have to do is run a ribbon through and finish off the little decorative hole where the ribbon goes. And I'll show you that in just a second, as soon as I get this done. All right, so I might take my tweezers here and see if I can lift this up. And I want this kind of at an angle. Let's see if that'll work. Okay, so I'm just going to push that down in place, hold it there for a little bit. Make sure everything's sticking nicely. It doesn't want to lift off. Because it was curving, we do have a little bit of it wanting to kind of lift on us. So just want to push down on those extra areas. All right. Then I have this piece that goes over the opening, and it looks like I'm going to have to get it under that H. So while it's still wet, let's get that on there. Okay. Just got adhesive all over my table. All right, let's slide that under the H. And that's supposed to reinforce the hole. Although for this piece, I'm not sure we need it. but I like the look of it. So there's our white on white. And then I have a little blue ribbon here that I thought went well with the pieces. So let's see what this looks like going through here. And do I want to, let me think this through. Okay, so if I put this loop up here, it's going to go, okay, so I want the loop to go in from the front. I'm just going to push it through with a little orange wood stick here, if I can get it to go. Give it a little bit of oomph. Alright, so I put the loop in from the front because I want the loop on the top in the front, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So now I'm going to take these ends and go through. Alright, and then we're going to kind of gently pull this whole thing taut, trying not to rip our cardstock anywhere. Okay, so just want to be gentle with it. Take my time getting it to tighten up. And let's see what that looks like here. Alright. I know I'm fussing with it, but you know how it is. Alright, so there we go. There is our hello tag with the shaker pieces.